Rabbi David Wolpe once saw a picture of a person in a boat pulling themselves to shore. And he thought that perhaps if someone was confused about the mechanics of motion, instead of the person pulling themselves to shore, one might think actually that the person was pulling the shore closer to them. And he said that that is what prayer is like. If you do prayer well, it's not about pulling God closer to you. What you're actually doing is you're pulling yourself closer to God. So if someone asked me about what prayer is, what about the point of prayer is, I might say that the point of prayer is actually for us to draw ourselves closer to God. But in Judaism, there's at least two answers for every question. So the other answer I might give to someone has to do with the Hebrew grammar of the word to pray, which is lehitpalel. This word is in the reflexive. It's a verb that's in the reflexive, which means actually to reflect upon oneself. So the point of prayer might be to draw ourselves closer to God, but it also might be just to provide ourselves with sacred space within which to have a sacred moment of self-reflection. As we think about the types of prayer services that we are most comfortable in, we could think about all kinds of prayer services, everything from yoga to meditation, conservative services, or worship in the Reform style. There are different expressions of prayer, even within our own tradition, and I've given you 3 touchstones to think about. Perhaps some will resonate with you more than others. The first one that I've given you is Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. He wrote a prayer in the 1500s called the Lecha Dodi, which many of us know on Friday nights we often sing. I've given you the Hebrew, the transliteration, and the English, just so that you can see the regularity with which it was written, how it's very structured, how the stanzas are even, how the syllable counts are even, how it rhymes, and how even built into the structure itself, the first letter of the Hebrew words of each of the stanzas form the name Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. Well, Shlomo Halevi. Shamor has the shin, Likrat has the lamed, Mikdash has the mem, and Hitnari has the hay to form Shlomo. I've given you just the first 4 stanzas. His expression of prayer that was authentic to him, his way of bringing himself closer to God or having that prayerful moment for himself that's sacred, was expressed very cerebrally and very ordered in a way such that he created this blessing. The next blessing that I've given you is an account of Hannah, biblical Hannah, in the book of Samuel. And the story tells us there that she was distraught. She was barren. She was bereft. She was angry. And one day she found herself in the prayer service. Hannah was praying with her heart, the text tells us, but only her lips moved. Her voice could not be heard. She was praying so much that she didn't even have the words, the full words to share. The text tells us that Eli, the priest, came by and he saw what she was doing and he thought that she was drunk and he said to her, "What are you doing? Temple is not a place to be drunk." And she said, "Oh no, my Lord, I'm only pouring my heart out to God." Her expression of prayer was the polar opposite of Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz. Rather than a structured, ordered, rhyming prayer, she just poured out her heart and offered what was inside. The third blessing that I've given you is a story about Rabbi Menachem Mendel. The story begins when he's a new rabbi and he comes to a congregation, and his friend comes to that congregation. And so all of the congregants go over to the friend and they say, "Hey, tell us something about this Rabbi Menachem Mendel that we are coming to know." And the friend said, "Oh, about his childhood? I don't really recall anything particularly interesting. Oh, except for that one time when we were in school. And our teacher brought all of us on top of the mountain to celebrate Lag BaOmer. And when it was time to leave, we all left. And when we were down at the bottom of the hill, our teacher said, 'Oh no, where's Menachem Mendel?' So the teacher went back up to the mountain and he told us what he found we see found Menachem Mendel face down on the earth, arms and legs outstretched, hugging the mountain. And what was he saying as he was hugging the mountain? Over and over, he was saying, "My heart and my flesh sing praises to the living God." His authentic expression of prayer, the way that he brought himself close to God, the way that he had that moment of self-reflection, was found in nature. And it was found with the lyrics of the praises of the Psalms. It was found in a way that brought him physically in touch with God's creation. So whether you pray in the style of Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz, or in the style of Hannah, or in the style of Rabbi Menachem Mendel, or in all of those three at different points in your life, you may find one of those styles more preferable than the next. I hope that your experience either brings you closer to God, or it gives you those moments of sacred self-reflection.